All right, everyone. Quarter one foreclosures just went parabolic and not in a good way. The worst first quarter since 2009. And that should tell you something. The median home payment, the housing payment in America, just crossed over $2,800 a month, which is up 72%. And Warren Buffett just bet $400 billion that it gets worse. Four states are bleeding first. So let's break it down. You don't have to be in foreclosure to be hurt by this. If a foreclosed house on your street sells at a 20% discount, in the future, that sale shows up on your appraisal next time you refinance or you list your home. You didn't miss a payment. Your price is still going to come down. And that's already happening in 4 specific American cities right now. And it's spreading to major metros that most people don't think are at risk. I'm going to show you also how to make some money from this. So let's talk about Atom Data Solutions. They just released the quarter one 2026 foreclosure report back on April 16th. They showed over 118,000 properties hit a filing in just the first 3 months of this year, right? So early foreclosure. This is up 26% from a year ago, which is its highest level dating back to 2020 because of what happened during COVID, right? So what I want to do is I want to name the 4 cities and show you the number one that explains why this is actually happening. Name the 4 big metros where it's reaching next, and then give you 3 things that you can check on in your own zip code today. Okay. And thank you to everybody that's been hitting subscribe. This is my real estate channel. Okay. Okay. Atom, the company tracks, Atom, ATOM, tracks foreclosure data, right? From over 3,000 counties across the US. Their Q1 2026 metro rankings cover 227 metro areas with populations over 200,000. Now, 4 cities lead in this country. Number 1 is Lakeland, Florida. 1 in every 409 housing units has had a foreclosure filing at the first 3 months of this year. The national average is 1 in 1,200. Okay, so Lakeland is running almost 3 times that number. Now, number 2 is Punta Gorda, Florida. You're going to see a lot of Florida numbers because Florida is leading this crash. There's 1 in 416 just south of Lakeland on the Gulf Coast. Now, number 3 city comes in as Columbia, South Carolina. This is having 1 in 440 foreclosure listings right now. This is the state capital, fastest growing region in the state for the last decade. Now, the number 4 city is Fayetteville, North Carolina, home to Fort Bragg, working class town, right? And it's the 5th on the list. Then we move to the 5th on the list, which is Macron, Georgia, 1 in 492. Same southeast pattern. These aren't cities that you hear about on the news. You don't see Lakeland, Florida on CNBC. You don't see Punta Gorda in the foreclosure stories. They're at the top of the list right now. Now, here's what surprised me when I dug into this info. The reason these cities are at the top of the list, what most people would guess, it's actually not about mortgage rates, right? Now, if you think about it this way, a lot of people in foreclosure right now actually have 3 to 4% mortgage rates from refinancing back in the 2021, 2022, right? So their mortgage is fine. Everything else around them broke down. Florida Tax Watch is actually a research group, and this is something I want to talk about, the taxes later, but they track state and local tax data. They put out a report on Lakeland that's worth knowing about. You see, property taxes in Lakeland went up 179% over a 10-year period, right? Through 2024, which almost tripled in a decade. That's the number. The homeowner who bought Lakeland, Florida property back in 2015 has a property tax bill today that is nearly 3 times what it was when they signed the loan. The mortgage rate didn't move. They had a fixed mortgage, right? But the total payment moved. Then there's homeowners insurance. Premiums are up about 70% since 2021. Florida and the Gulf Coast got hit the hardest. Some insurance carriers completely pulled out of Florida entirely. So people who kept their coverage are paying double or triple. People who couldn't find coverage got placed by their lender into a company, or they were going to lose the house. And the cost of 2 to 3 times the regular market rate, That's crushing them. Bankrate also ran numbers on what it actually costs to own a house beyond the mortgage. You have insurance, taxes, maintenance, the HOA fees, utilities. The total average is now $21,400 a year. 81% of homeowners say it ended up being more than they expected. So here's what the math actually looks like. You've got a 4% mortgage on a $300,000 house, let's say. Your loan payment is fine. You add $3,000 in insurance, $4,000 in property taxes, $1,200 for an HOA, a maintenance bill that you can't avoid, right? The mortgage didn't change again. Your monthly cost did. And that's why Lakeland is number one. Not because the loans are bad, but because everything around the loan got really expensive. Now, there's a second group inside these numbers that's getting hit even harder, the pandemic buyers. FHA loan delinquency was at 11.52% in this first quarter of 2026. That's the highest level, again, since 2021, before really the pandemic was really affecting all of these numbers, right? The worst performing FHA loans were the ones written in 2022 and 2023. Those are the people who bought at the peak. With rising rates, 3.5% down, no equity buffer, you could see the big problems. And this is where you need to be taking advantage of this. As a matter of fact, this is the month where Florida tax liens are hitting the market, and people that have just walked away from paying their taxes, you have an ability to go in there, offer them a lifeline through the county, and loan them money for it. So I'll teach you all about it if you want. I'll put a sale link down below to the Tax Liens and Deeds course. And if you want, you could even join the group coaching calls to make sure you're succeeding at this. There are people that are buying Florida tax liens, they're redeeming in a month or two, and they're getting 10 to 18% of their money in 4 to 8 weeks. It's absolutely insane. So I'll put a link down below, okay? But going back to this insurance issue, right? When people's insurance bill doubles or their property tax catches up to the inflated asset level, they don't have any cushion. There's no equity to refinance. That's why you're going to see prices keep collapsing down in these areas. And then what it's going to do is it's going to drag across the nation, right? Because they don't have anywhere to go. The pandemic buyers that bought at the top, there's no equity to refinance into a lower payment. There's nowhere to absorb this increase from with the higher interest rates. I'm sorry, not interest rates, but the higher insurance policy rates and all these other fees, HOA fees and things like that. Their only option now is to fall behind, right? And here's how the trap closes. Two things have to happen at once for foreclosure to become the only way out. First, costs go up and prices stop going up, or they start coming down. When both happen together, you can't sell to escape. The home is worth less than you owe, and selling means writing a check or you're completely out. Your credit gets destroyed. This is exactly what happened in 2007. This is what we've been preparing for. That's what happened. That's what's happening to the pandemic buyer in Cape Coral, Port St. Lucie, Lakeland, Florida, Punta Gorda. They paid $400,000 for a Gulf Coast house in 2022. Their insurance has gone up 3 years in a row. Their property taxes caught up to the $400,000 assessed value, and the current market price may be $370,000. They can't sell without losing money they don't have. That's the trap. Here's the part most coverage actually skips in the news. The 4 cities at the top of the list are smaller: Lakeland, Punta Gorda, Columbia, and Fayetteville. Population in 2 of the 600,000 range, as far as per capita, you're a city size. All right. Most people read the list and they dismiss it. They go, well, it's not my city. It doesn't apply to me, right? Well, Adam, the data company, also publishes a separate ranking, major metropolitan areas with population over 1 million, and where they fall in the top 20 foreclosure rates nationally. 4 big metros are in there: Cleveland, Ohio, right? Number 6 in the country. Jacksonville, Florida, number 11. Indianapolis, Indiana, which is number 12. And Orlando, Florida, which is number 17. You'd think that Orlando would be fine. It's got all of those theme parks. They got all kinds of tourism. But no, they're in trouble. Those aren't small markets. Those are major American cities. If you live in or near any of those, You're closer to this than you think. Florida, in and of itself, already shows what happens next. Bank-owned properties, REOs, went from 487 in quarter one last year to over 1,000 in quarter one, almost a triple. Florida's REO inventory more than doubled in 12 months. And just so you know, I'm planning on buying a place near the water in Florida in the next year and a half, 2 years, as all this keeps climbing or crashing down. This is absolutely exciting. Look, if you want to take advantage of this, this is where you learn about tax liens and deeds. Florida is the hot spot. It's got like the next 8 weeks of auctions going on. Learn about them now. Links down below to the best course in the nation on this, and with the sale price, the best price in the nation. Anyone all over the world can do this and take advantage of buying tax liens and deeds in America. I know it sounds crazy. Links down below to that, and check out the group coaching calls. I want to make sure that you walk away within the next 12 months and absolute success and crushing it in this. All right, with that being said, the ninja is out.